More space junk is accumulating in Earth's orbit, and it poses a threat to all of us when it re-enters the atmosphere. A team of researchers at the University of British Columbia say, well, there is a 10% chance of one or more casualties caused by falling space junk over the next decade. Joining me now with more is CTV science and technology specialist Dan Riskin. I saw your head bopping to that theme song. Pretty good.
I like the music you guys play when I come on. I get grooving. Okay, but yeah, let's talk about things falling from the sky.
Honestly,
because it is. No, I cut you off.
Okay.
It's creepy because you've got this idea, all these rocket launches. The number of satellites has doubled in the last 4 years. You've got the boosters that take things up, that come back down. And the thing is that those boosters don't always come back nicely and land on a rocket pad like the SpaceX ones sometimes do. Not all of their rockets do, especially just recently, of course. But what you end up with is sometimes these pieces of debris coming in through the same part of the sky where airplanes fly. And because the number of airplanes has doubled since 2000, we've got a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces.
Have we seen incidents with airplanes?
What we've seen is airplanes having to react to the fact that a piece of rocket is coming in. So just when the pandemic was starting in 2020, there was a piece of space debris. It was a Chinese rocket that came in over Los Angeles and then crossed all of the United States, went over New York just 9 minutes later, and then crashed in Africa. And when that happened, air traffic controllers knew about it. They had a little bit of warning, but they decided not to move planes because it would have been so expensive, and the probability was quite low that something was going to get hit. Then a couple years later, the same thing happened in Europe. They did divert planes. It cost hundreds of millions of dollars. For about an hour, they had planes just avoid a certain part of the sky. But it ended up that the piece of rocket didn't go through that part of the sky. It's very hard to predict these things. So we're starting to get into a place where we have to have these conversations, and we should have policy in place because it's not sufficient to keep rolling the dice and hoping you get good odds.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that way. Okay, speaking of odds, let's talk about, as of 2021, the U.S. Space Surveillance Network was tracking more than 15,000 pieces of space debris larger than 10 centimeters. But I understand the network also estimates there are 200,000 pieces between 1 and 10 centimeters across, and there are millions of pieces smaller than 1 centimeter. How large does the debris need to be to damage an aircraft?
Well, if it hits the right part of the aircraft, it doesn't have to be very big at all. I mean, obviously, if you have a big rocket and it smacks into a plane, things are going to go very badly. But even a piece as small as about 300 grams, which is not very heavy, is estimated to be sufficient to take out an engine or to smash the windscreen on an airplane. And there have been a couple of unexplained incidences, one in 1996, one in 2003, where airplanes that are flying very high up all of a sudden hit something. And it's unclear what they hit. There are no birds that fly up as high as where these airplanes were, but one got hit, windshield cracked. Another one, the nose got smacked by something, and it's unclear whether these were natural things that fell out of the sky, like asteroids, or whether they were pieces of space junk. But it's something that can happen and that people do need to be on the watch out for.
Okay, so what do we do?
Well, so I think that what we're really getting into here is the need for a global policy about what we do to combat space junk. The analogy that's been drawn here is with oil tankers and the fact that they were single hull until the Exxon Valdez accident. And then all of a sudden, the U.S. said, okay, they all have to be double hull. And we've avoided a whole bunch of incidences since then because the ships have a safety mechanism in place. I think what's happening here is everybody's sort of pushing this down the line and saying, let's not worry about space junk. But I think eventually somebody is going to get hit. You mentioned that 10% odds number. If someone does get hit or an airplane gets hit, I think we're going to see policy come in that says it's not sufficient for things to fall out of the sky when they decide to. Every single thing that goes up has to have a plan for how it's going to come back down. And that's just not in place yet.
Yeah, let's get those plans underway. Dan Riskin, thanks so much. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.